This free hit draft is a banger. Hello guys and welcome back to another FPL video. As most of you already know, Game Week 25 is a double game week for some teams and blank for others. So using the free hit chip is a very valuable option. I've prepared an example draft which you can use for Game Week 25 if you decide to use the free hit chip. So without further ado, let's jump and see what my draft is looking like. We will be starting from the goalkeeper's position. As you can see, I've decided to pick Pickford. He has two matches in Game Week 25. Yeah, they are against Aston Villa and Arsenal, but I believe Pickford can rack up some saves, and I believe that he can keep a clean sheet most likely against Aston Villa because Everton are pretty solid. They've kept 2 of 3 games, so this is a pretty good record. He has a very good record of making saves. Yeah, he can make mistakes from time to time, but he is the reason that Everton did not go down last year. So I think he will be a very, very integral part of their staying this year in the Premier League. And with the price point of 4.4, it's a no-brainer for me. Other options here were Jose from Wolves, but he's way more expensive, and Alisson or Ramsdale, but I believe that I want to use most of my money up front when I use Liverpool and Arsenal assets, so their goalkeepers are not very likely to be picked by me. Other good options such as Raya, De Gea, and Sanchez are just not playing, and Kepa has a game against Spurs, so I believe Pickford with his 2 game weeks may be a very, very good option. On my bench is Forster, he is 3.9, which is the cheapest for a playing goalkeeper. I believe if something happens to Pickford, you need to have a goalkeeper that can play, but something happening to a goalkeeper, that's not a very high possibility, but everything can happen. So having a playing goalkeeper on your bench is a must for me. And Forster is playing, Wuris is out, he is cheaper than Ward, so it's Forster for me. As you can see, the squad value is 102 millions, which is a high value. So I will be giving to you some players that you can transfer out and replace if you don't have the budget. I'll be going out and saying who can you buy if you have more money than this budget. So stay tuned to hear the other picks, but I believe those 2 goalkeepers are the best choices for the free hit team in Game Week 25. Next up, we will be talking about the defensive line. As you can see, I opted for a formation with 3 defenders because I'm using my free hit and I want to deploy a team with as many forwards and midfielders as possible, but we have to have a solid defensive line. First of all, Liverpool are going back in form, and I think the wingbacks are going to return once again. I've picked Robertson just because he's cheaper. Yeah, he can return less points than Trent, but he's cheaper, as I already said. If you have the money, go for Trent. I don't mind it, but in my opinion, Robertson is as okay as it gets. They have a game against Crystal Palace and Wolves, and I believe they can keep a clean sheet in both of the games. And I think Robertson may play in both of the games. Next up is Zinchenko. He just scored a goal against Aston Villa, and I think he is very, very attacking minded, and I think he can score or assist once again. So here it's a no-brainer for me to go for any other. Saliba and Gabriel are just not as attacking as he is, and they don't provide such threat. And Ben White is the cheaper option. If you want to save some money to go for Trent instead of Robertson, going for White is an option, but I believe Zinchenko and Robertson are a better duo than Trent and White. Finally, another starter for me is Dawson. Here you can save the money with Q1, but I believe Wolves will concede goals against Fulham and Liverpool. But if they score a goal from set piece, Dawson might be on the receiving end more than Kilman. Yeah, he is more expensive. That's why you can replace it with him. But in my opinion, if you go for a Wolves defender, Dawson is the best shout out if you have the money. If not, go for Kilman. On my bench, I have two 3.9 defenders. One is Bueno. He returned to the starting lineup, so I believe he will play once again. And the other is Patterson. He started training. He's playing in the under 22s. You need to have players that can play, because if something happens to one of your defenders, even though the 3 of them have double games, I believe that having at least one playing defender is a good option. This is Bueno, and Patterson may come in. Here, if you have the money, you can improve them, but I don't see the point. I think developing the most budget funds into the starting lineup is the way to go, because you're using a free hit and you can do whatever you like. But having options, it's always good. Going into midfield, you can see that there are some interesting picks. First of all, Mohamed Salah is coming into, I think, everyone's drafts. He's playing very, very well. Liverpool are attacking. Now with their three midfielders being hard workers, Fabinho, Henderson and Bajacic, I think the forward line is going to shine. Salah is on pens. He's not replaceable. He plays every game. He's my captain, regardless if I use my free hit or just transfer him in. I think he's the greatest shout out. And if you have the money and you have the luxury to buy such a premium asset in the middle of Game Week 25, go for it. The two Arsenal boys here, Saka and Odegaard, I think they're very, very good. I think Saka is going very strong. He's better option than Martinelli just because he is not rotatable, such as Salah. He has a very high price point at 8.4, but I think it's worth it. The other one is Odegaard. Odegaard is their captain. He's playing amazingly well, and if he plays good, they play good. So I think you can pick him. And here the wild card is Sarabia. He's a Wolves player. The only reason he's in because he has a double up, and Fulham tends to concede. Liverpool, I don't see it, but he will get points from playing and he can return some points against Fulham. I think being a player from PSG is a very, very good shout out that you are a good player. So he is a good player. Other options here are Andreas, because he's cheaper and he will be playing, but he has one game, or maybe someone from Everton, but I don't see Everton scoring a lot of goals. And this position is pretty disposable. If you have enough funds, you can go for someone like Mahrez, or maybe not as high, but Bernardo or Madison or someone else, but I don't have the funds to go there. And I think Sarabia, for the price points, may return a lot of points. Another good option is Tete from Leicester. He's starting on the right wing, and I think he has a lot of potential, but as explained, he has only one game for this game week, and having a double up in the free hit is a very, very reasonable shout out. And the last guy here is Kobak. He's just the cheapest midfielder. He's playing from time to time, so yeah, just pick Kobak. He's 4.1, and this is the cheapest possible playing bench, so this is a good bench. And the last thing that was left to discuss is the forward line. Going into the forwards, you can see that I've opted for the strongest guys here. Haaland against Bournemouth, I think it's a no-brainer to go without him. Yeah, they lost points against Nottingham, but I think they will be angry and Haaland will destroy them. Yeah, he has only one fixture, but it's against Bournemouth. And the other two forwards are Harry Kane and Joao Felix. I think Joao Felix is playing very, very well. Chelsea are not good enough, but I think they will be very motivated to go into the game against Spurs. Harry Kane is playing very well, but Spurs are not. And yeah, they will be motivated as well. So I expect a lot of goals, and I expect that both of the teams will score, and Harry Kane and Joao Felix will be involved 100%. Here there are some other options such as Watkins, or maybe if you don't use the transfers for an Arsenal player, Nketiah or Darwin or Jota if you like. But I think going for some differentials such as Joao Felix and Harry Kane to an extent, because he won't be as popular in the double up game week 25 because he does not have a double up. But I think they are a good shout out, and I believe that they will return a lot of points. Watkins, as already mentioned, is a good shout out. He is scoring goals. He can replace Joao Felix, and he can fund some of the players you want to buy. But in my opinion, those three are the strongest forwards going into game week 25, and they will be most nailed. I will be very happy to hear what your opinion on this draft is and what you will change if you have to, or will you be using the free hit chip or something else, or you'll be taking hits. I am very, very interested to hear that from you, and I will read all the comments, I will answer to them, and I will hope to see you soon again and talk about fantasy once again. But for now, guys, I will be heading out. Bye!